Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.
There are big stories, huge stories coming up. The ending is a massive story. It goes out with a bang.
Literally.
It goes out literally with a bang.
Oh,
but it's not
goodness.
like we blow up the hospital. We can't, because it has...
No,
we don't
can't.
go, right, that's it. You know, it's not like Rebecca, you know, where it burns down.
Hi.
You will see.
Welcome.
You will see that Sherrie is not here.
She's done a run.
Yeah, she's done a run. And our gorgeous friend Julie Peasgood has come in to say hi with us. It's lovely to see you. You're a very bright room, darling. Very bright.
You look lovely.
Yes, I'm actually in my study. I'm on my bed.
It's your own radiance, darling. It's not lighting. It's your own
No.
radiance. We all know that.
Exactly.
Can I just say, everyone, and Julie, you weren't there, but next time, please God, thank you all. We had the most wonderful WonderBirds time at Jonathan Pye.
Yes.
We saw it in real life, which was amazing. Also, the extraordinary, funny Jojo Sutherland, who is a wonderful stand-up lady comedian of maturity, like our good selves. It was the most fantastic night.
It really was.
We had, and I just kept touching Harriet because I keep doing that to her. I drive her mad because I haven't seen her for so long. I just keep touching her. So I touched her a lot.
And don't worry.
You do that, darling. You get people into the touchy sort of feeling mode. Do you remember when we met up again after many years? And I said to you, I don't like people touching me, and I don't like hugs. And now I hug you first.
Can you believe it? She didn't. I don't want people to touch me. Nobody can hug me. I mean, honestly, Dee, who on earth is that? Oh well, very, very strange. Actually, I tell you who is like Nicola McAuliffe is like that. She doesn't like to be hugged.
Ah,
no,
really?
No, she doesn't like to be hugged.
Is that something to do with COVID or pre-COVID?
No. She's just not a huggy person. She's very warm,
just
lovely,
generally.
but she's not one of those huggy, and it's a COVID thing, I'm sure. But she's one of those.
And
she's one of those I'm sure she would tell everybody she doesn't like a big hug, as I try to tell her. Generally,
Exactly, that's the thing, you see, there are hugs and snogs and snogs. And I think it's about, when you're on your own, it's like, because, my husband died 13 years ago now. When you're on your own, and when suddenly somebody comes up to you and gives you a big hug, it feels really weird, And then, you know what I mean?
What sort of hug do you expect?
And isn't it a nice feeling when somebody does that? Or just alien?
It's nice now. Now I've got used to it. But it can be a bit sort of, it's just, yes, a little bit alien. It's a good word. Alien, yeah.
Well, she is an alien, I think. Julie, where have you've been somewhere, haven't you? Because you're glowing.
Thank you. I'm glowing actually with the realization. It's rather nice, and it's probably pertinent to all of us. I don't usually like autumn because it's kind of the onset of winter, and especially when the shops start having Christmas stuff in September and all of that. It's so bright at the moment. I was sweeping the path outside this morning, 8 a.m, all the leaves, and I just thought, why am I feeling so happy? And I think it's maybe the return to some kind of normality, which it was so different last year. So yes, I am feeling happy, but I've also just been on 3 back-to-back cruises. So I'm so glad I can't actually see my body because I am the size of not good for the waistline. But yeah, Richard Branson's foray into the world of cruising with Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, a little yacht in Croatia. Well, actually, it was a great big yacht in Croatia. It was wonderful. But best of all, I have to say, was Saga, because these supercraft cruises have started again, and they welcomed us back with open arms, really safe. Everybody wore masks. You were only allowed out on escorted tours on a bus. It was super safe, which actually I admire them for doing. And I added aluminium art, lino printing, and needle felting to the agenda. And
I'm sorry, Julie, but you cannot say that on a family show.
Exactly. And I have one question which I'm very confused about. There was a word you used about something on your path with leaves. What was that word? You were what?
Sweeping. I was
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, No idea. But that's amazing to be back cruising again, darling. That must feel so liberating.
It does. It feels really good. And they've asked us back next year to go to the Canaries with a Supercraft cruise for some winter sunshine. So
I'm so sorry. You must be suffering so much. I'm so sorry.
Yes, goodbye, Julie. It's been lovely to see you. Anyway,
I'm coming with you, Julie.
Anyway, we have a wonderful guest who actually we all love desperately. He is how can you explain Bob Barrett? He's just, well, gorgeous. And he does hug as well, Dee. And
he's just perfection, darling. He is just the man that we all want to meet and we all adore. He's just...
If only he could clone himself.
I know. He's very happily married, but
he's women. I've got to stop you both. He's a very talented actor. He's an amazing vegan, and we're welcoming him into our nest. I've got security with these other two women.
Debbie is the nicest person in the world, and there he is.
Here he is. Welcome.
Hello.
Did you hear all that stuff that we said about you?
No.
Oh,
No, I didn't hear any of that. I was in Hass's waiting room.
Oh, darling, we didn't want to. Well, we do want to embarrass you. We just saying that Dee, actually, before, she doesn't like to be hugged and kissed. You are a very, very tactile.
I am. It's terrible. I know it is terrible. It is. I didn't know that about Dee.
No, darling.
Well, I always hug Dee. I spend my life hugging Dee when I see her. So that's terrible.
And that's what I said. I said how lovely it is that you hug me. But no, I went through a phase after my husband died of not wanting anyone to hug me. But now I hug everyone, darling. So don't worry about it. And especially you. Oh yes.
That's amazing. I'm honoured. I'm honoured.
I'm honoured.
Isn't it the second I met you, Bob? Because you're such a bear in the loveliest possible way. Because you are a man bear, aren't you?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I am a man bear.
Darling, can I come in with some sensible conversation? Put a spoke in this crazy wheel. I want to know. I know Holby's coming to its natural end.
How is it?
Yes.
But I want to ask. What's happening? Are you getting your own cookery show? Presumably you are. Vegan.
Vegan. I wish. I was
it has to happen.
The thing is, I don't cook I cook from recipe books, but I've got this thing called Masterclass, which I cannot recommend highly enough. Bloody Masterclass is the best thing in the world. It's this thing, it's an American thing, and they get these incredible people to talk on Masterclass. I've seen the one with David Mamet about playwriting, Aaron Sorkin about, they have everybody, and they just do a sort of like a few hours of teaching. And one of them is Ottolenghi. And I haven't used the Ottolenghi one yet. But Ottolenghi basically says, throw away the cookbooks. This is what you do. This is how you make this and make that. So therefore, I'm going to try, now Holby's sadly gone, I will try and create my own stuff, which would be a disaster.
Will you be able to create Ottolenghi's meringues? They are delightful.
Isn't he a genius, this man?
Yes.
It's the best thing in the world. I mean, and when you read his recipes...
What are you talking about?
Ottolenghi.
She doesn't understand.
He's basically a chef.
Fantastic chef, Debs. He's got a wonderful restaurant near the Almeida in Islington.
Yes, he does.
And several more.
She doesn't cook, darling. She doesn't cook. That's what she doesn't do.
Yes.
And I have to say, I think it's slightly foolish to say throw away your cookbooks, because I have several of his. So I don't think that's a very good idea.
Very true.
Bob,
yes.
is Holby finished now? Have you finished working on it?
No, we've got another...
What's happening? Tell us.
Well, so we got another 9 weeks before we finish. We finish in mid-December. It's on air until next March. So yeah, so we're literally down now to the last 3 blocks, so 6 eps. It's quite weird. It's quite moving because you think these are the last ones. These are the last eps. You know, I've read about 500 eps of Holby, and suddenly you think, God, these are the last ones. So it's quite an honour, actually, weirdly an honour to be part of the last group, seeing it off into the sunset.
Are they actually winding it down? No, you can't tell us, but are they actually winding it down, or does it sort of just stop?
You can't tell us. You can't tell us.
Sort of what it's not. I mean, obviously, it's a weird one. There are there's huge stories coming up. The ending is a massive story, which is, you know, great, because it's a real sort of, you know, it goes out with a bang.
Literally.
It goes out literally with a bang.
Oh,
but it's not
goodness.
like we blow up the hospital. We can't, because we don't go, right, that's it. You know, it's not like Rebecca, you know, where the bird was down. But because casualty is part of the hospital. So they can't do anything rash. So they'll probably go, oh, well, Holby's up there because it's still carrying on. So we do, it finishes with us all intact and carrying on.
So there might be a chance for it to come back, Bob. There might be.
There is. It's weird because there is talk, but then I think all these shows, like the Bill, suddenly everyone's going, oh, the Bill's coming back, and you think, oh, is the Bill really coming back? So I think it'll always be out there, because they're not getting rid of it because it's not popular. This is the weird thing about this. It's not lost its popularity. I mean,
I know,
all shows
you've got
like
such
that.
great fans. You've got great fans.
What is it? It's just you know, the powers that be. Is it just a bit of politics going on?
It's just a bit of politics, but in a perfectly understandable way. They want to move stuff out of London. They want to put stuff, you know, take stuff up north and do more shows up there. And that's, you know, you've got to just go, well, that's fair enough. You know, it's just one of those things. We are sort of based in London. And if they want to move stuff,
to build that hospital set in Manchester would cost a fortune.
Or anywhere, Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know.
It's lovely.
It'd be lovely. I wouldn't mind that. I'd love that.
Great Christmas market.
Great Christmas.
Lovely theatre.
Because Bob, I remember us going into Brown's and you were accosted, weren't you, by all the waiters, people sitting there.
Yes.
I mean,
It is, you go out and people go, and everybody has said, you get accosted. It's bloody hilarious. You get accosted and you get sort of like, why is it ending? Why is it ending? As if I've ended it or something. And I go, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. We're all very sad. And then they all go, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
What are you going to do next? And I go, well, I don't know yet.
Say my
You feel really guilty.
you know what,
You're
Bob?
letting
Say my
everyone
cookery
down.
show. That's what you said.
Yes, great idea, Harriet. It's a great idea. I'll tell you something else, Bob. You are a wonderful raconteur, as everybody knows. But I was very I interviewed you recently for
the best. Can I just say how bloody marvellous that was? That was amazing. All of that was incredible.
Oh,
stop
We could have
flirting
talked
with
for
her.
hours.
Stop
You
flirting.
Stop
Stop it.
You were a star guest, it's a column in a toys magazine about the toys that are memorable to celebrities, you know, when they're very young. And Bob, you were just very moving, actually, because of the way that I'd love you to share it if you felt able to. The way that your toys related very much to your mum, and how then music became a refuge when your mum died. Would you just talk about it again? Is that okay?
So I basically, whenever you talk about childhood, obviously the biggest thing that happened in my childhood was the death of my mother when I was 12. So everything relates to that, really. And so when I was thinking about these, because when you were talking about toys, I was thinking, God, because I don't have my teddy, my little teddy that I had. Obviously, when Mum died, all my teddies just went. I mean, all those things just didn't become a refuge anymore at all, because they don't when something like that happens to you. Yeah. So actually what did happen is my dad got me my blessed dad, who I worshipped and still worship, bought me a radio cassette recorder, and that became the focus, and that sort of was my therapy. I had a nervous breakdown for like a year and a half, 2 years. But out of that, music became my refuge, and music's like my religion now, total religion. So that's what happened, because I had no tools to get through. I still don't really. I mean, I talk to people. I met someone the other day who said, oh, my mum died when I was 6, and we talked about how you never get through this. I mean, we all know this.
No, my dad died when I was 7, Bob.
I was going to say, exactly.
What happened to your mum, Bob? Do you mind talking about that?
No, not at all, not at all. She, in the middle of the night, she had a heart attack. Absolutely out of the blue, had a heart attack. And she died about 1 o'clock in the morning, and my dad sat on the bed. It was weird because my dad sat on the bed and said, And no one else in the house believed it until I screamed when he told me. And my sister says that's when I actually believed this had happened. And I was allowed to see her. And yeah, and I was unbelievably close to my mother. I mean, sort of inseparable from my mother. We did everything together. We went on holidays together. We were completely as one, really. And so it was just, and I think about her all the time. I think about my dad. When my dad died when I was 27, I think about them all the time. And in a way, it's reassuring because it took me years. But it's a quick story that I when I was 50, I never had a picture of Mum out anywhere because it was too upsetting. And when I was 50, Becky, my wife, she gave me 50 presents on my birthday, little tiny things, but one of them was pictures of my mum and dad, and they're now out, and I look at them every day, and that has actually weirdly helped, and it's become something that I now can openly think about and talk about. I couldn't say the word mother for 10, 15 years.
But
The whole time at drama school.
What the ladies don't know, Bob, is that before, when you were very much loving your toys, Bob had 23 teddies and sausage dogs and things, and he kissed every single one of them before he went. And you see, that's the kind of thing we love.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, "Have you got a bed yet? What are you doing in there?" I go, "I'm just saying that. I'm saying goodnight to number 14. Don't worry." Literally every night.
Oh, Bob, but you
Good
are.
night, and they were looking at me going, "Will you just get a bed?" You know, it's like.
Because you have two sisters, don't you, as well as two?
Three sisters. I've got three sisters.
And are they older as well than you?
They're all older than me. So the youngest is 5 years older, and the oldest is 15 years older than me.
Wow.
Because so it's very sort of, yeah. I'm a baby.
But Bob, you are just a man with women. All of even your dog is a girl, isn't she?
Even my dog is a girl. My dog is a girl. My God,
Bob,
she's a girl.
Can I say how wonderful it is to hear you talk about it? So, important that we share these things.
Yes.
And how have the resources at 12 to cope with anything. Nobody can.
No.
And now at least we can. Hearing you talk is the most moving thing because people didn't talk about it.
No.
And especially men. And therefore to share this is so important and so wonderful. And so we're so lucky to be able to do this now.
Thank you.
Well said.
Yes.
Well, I was at private school, and I wasn't a boarder yet. I was a boarder once Mum died. But their way of dealing with it was, I mean, bless them. But their way of dealing with it was going, it's very sad. So are you all right? And I go, I go, yes. And so initially they gave me about a month where I'd get over it. And then after that, they'd be like, "Where's your work?" And I'd go, "I can't function." You know,
no, of course not.
And they were like, they just got angrier and angrier because I wasn't coping with it. And they got angry also almost because they didn't know what the hell to do. How you deal with someone.
I was 7, and it was a kind of a similar thing, even though, but he was very ill. Very young, but very ill. And so I always remember, I didn't know he was going to die, but the week before he died, he called me in and said, "Look after Mummy." And I said, "Well, where are you going?" Because he couldn't walk and he couldn't move. And I said, "You can't go anywhere, Daddy, because you're not well." He said, "No, I'll be okay then. But you've got to, I'm leaving, but you've got to look after Mummy." I remember. And he said, "Don't say I told you that." And I never said it. And then I found out he died. And I remember everybody, the whole family being so relieved because he was so ill, as a young, dynamic comedian and everything, to lose the brain tumor, to lose the whole function of the right side of his body, speech and all of that. And no one knew what it really was in those days either. But as a child, and as in those days, I suppose no one really asked me how I felt. Everyone just let you get on with it, didn't they?
And Debbie, that responsibility of having to, in quotes, look after your mother, aged 7, having that responsibility shared is a massive thing as well.
Yes, of course.
Process. And as you said, no one's there to look after you in that way that we do now.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense of you because that's what you do. You look after everyone. You make sure everything's okay. You still do that. In a way. And someone said to me once about my mum. I'm very nice to people. or whatever I do, because I don't want people to die. I don't want people to leave.
You know,
So
Bob, I
therefore
was
I'm
just
going,
about
no,
to
it's all
say
gonna be
that.
fine. It's all going to be fine,
Yeah.
literally. I mean, we all have that thing.
I was just about to say that you are one of the kindest, most empathetic people I've ever met. And I was just blown away when I met you through Debbie.
That's really
and I thought, my goodness, this guy, I mean, and you know, you're a superb actor. And I'm sure all of those, because, you know, you've been through so much, so you can draw on so many experiences from your life too.
Oh, dear, that's so lovely. Well, I guess so. I guess the older we get, the more we can draw on, I suppose.
No, but I never forget, Bob, when you said about your mother-in-law, and this is obviously why, because of your mum, about cooking Christmas dinner, and you said to her, "You will never cook it again now I'm here." Honestly, Bob, you must have been the ideal son-in-law.
Well, she was the most extraordinary woman. I mean, she was like a second mother to me, and she was just a one-off. She was incredible, and she's always with us, you know. I mean, the reason I can, it's lovely when people say that to me, but I live with the most wonderful person. Becky, my wife, is the most, and so is her mother. They're very, very similar people. So you just go, yeah, well, I know, you know, that's the real sort of deal.
How lovely.
She was remarkable. She was amazing. And I wished she got to meet my mum, because that would have been just kind of magic, really, if that happened. Maybe
they have now.
Maybe they have now. I know. Well, I do. I can't believe that.
I believe
That's
that.
an odd thing. You sort of get into that territory and you have to go.
Yeah.
But I do kind of believe that. I do.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that they're all in somewhere. You know, I think they're floating around. They don't go. I think. Do
you know what I think? I think heaven is actually Joe Allen's in the stuff. Everyone's sitting with a cocktail at a red and white striped tablecloth, waiting. It's like, where have you been? Come on.
I think I second that.
If that's the case, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that to happen.
That's what we're going to do.
For us all to be round a table.
I know.
I believe, I've always said this, and it's probably happened from when I was a little girl, and perhaps what my mother said to me, but when any actor or comedian or anyone in the media dies, I always think they've gone up to the great command performance in the sky. They've been called up.
So they're doing a performance at Joe Allen's, then we've got it all together. There we go.
So, Bob, Christmas.
I'm at home. We're all at home. My father-in-law is coming to us, so we're all in London at Christmas, which is great.
Oh.
It's our second vegan Christmas. I have to cook meat for him.
Yes.
He's so lovely about it. Here's a meat and two veg man all his life, going, what the hell? I can't eat this. We have a certain thing, so I will cook meat for him.
Do you cook it outside in the garden, darling?
Outside of the thing. We're going to cook it in the oven. We're going to cook it in the oven, and then we're going to clean the oven after Christmas.
I was going to say
cleaning anyway, because it's a bit more now. I never thought it would be.
Oh.
But the smell of it makes you go, whoa. I cooked it last Christmas. I cooked in beef, and it was disgusting. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Oh, funny.
But yes.
Oh, funny.
But Becky's doing a play. Becky's doing a play at the moment. She's doing the dresser. I'm pointing at Harriet Thorpe, who was a definitive her ladyship.
I'll take that.
Where is she? Is she on tour, Bob? Is she on tour with it?
Yeah.
She's on tour, but they have a break while Julian Clary and Matthew Kelly do Panto. And then they come back up.
Perfect tour to me. You get Christmas off, and then you go back on the road. How fabulous!
Exactly, perfect. It's just perfect, and it's a lovely little tour afterwards. So it is a perfect. You do. You don't have to work through Christmas. It's absolutely marvelous. So it's great. And
well, I know she's in Richmond this week or next week, isn't she?
She is in Richmond this week. She's in Richmond.
Are you coming to see her?
I'm going to go on Tuesday. I've seen it twice. I saw it twice in Bath.
Next
as
Tuesday.
You do. It's terrible. We're all terrible because the girls have seen it twice as well.
Is that next
If
week,
you're going
darling?
next Tuesday, I'll go as well, Bob. I might see you there. If you're going next Tuesday.
Good. Oh, that would be lovely. Oh, that would be.
I might come as well. I live in Richmond.
Well, you live in Richmond.
No,
you live in Richmond, so that's perfect.
Yes.
But it's a wonderful show. I mean, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite plays. I wish, you know, I think it's done every now and then. I mean, you did the big one. You did the one in the West End with Ken.
Yeah.
And with was it?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
well,
God.
I saw the original version with Freddie Jones, and who else was in it? Freddie and
Tom
it was
Courtney. You saw
Yes.
the original.
I saw the
Oh, my
original, and
goodness.
do you know who took me to that on our first date was John Challis.
Oh.
Oh.
But darling,
my
I was going to
goodness.
say, surely you must have been in a carry-cot. You can't be that old.
John Challis took me in a carry-cot.
There you go.
I
Thank
was
you.
a child bride.
There we go.
And
So that's the date. We'll all come
Oh,
to
how lovely.
Becky, and then we're going to Joe Allen's afterwards.
Yes,
There
come
we
on.
go.
And then we go to
Yeah,
Joe
yeah, we'll
in the
all be there,
sky, Joe
darling.
Allen in
But not the
sky.
one in the sky, darling. The one in the
Not the
West
one
End.
in the sky.
Yes.
Hopefully, yeah.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Oh God.
Thank you,
amazing.
darling.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next week.
It's so incredible. I'll see you next week. That'll be
Yeah,
so exciting. That'll be
see you
so
next
exciting.
Tuesday.
fabulous.
That's not what we should say, is it? See you next Tuesday.
No, I was just about to
Is
say
it not?
that. I thought better of it.
But you can't. It
You're not
means
meant to
something
say
else,
that.
Bob. It means something
It's
else.
been something else.
Please,
Because we're
somebody
very
beam us
rude.
out here. Stop this now. Beam us out.
We love you, Bob. You come back
So
and
amazing
We
to see
adore
you.
you,
Oh,
darling.
Bye.
Big
So
hugs.
much.
Big hugs.
Bye. It's so lovely to see you all. Bye.
Bye, darling. That was hysterical,
goodness.
moving and wonderful. Oh my goodness.
Oh, incredible. I could hug him all day.
Yeah, you can he just does emanate kindness, doesn't he, and
Yes,
love.
he
Really
is.
does.
He's
And I
very
He's just
kind.
gorgeous. I actually can't remember when I first met him, but the second I met him, it was like love at first sight. Oh, I know. I met him at Tony McHale's party, which I told you guys about, where, because, you know, there were all the people there from Holby, and somebody had a heart
Yeah.
attack at the party. And everyone was expecting all the doctors from Holby. They thought it was a gag.
Oh,
and it
my
wasn't.
goodness.
Somebody really did
Oh,
have a heart
that's right.
is he all
That's
right?
right.
Person okay?
Yeah.
I remember
but it
now.
took people ages to realise, and they wondered why all of this lot didn't, didn't help him. But they're just actors.
Oh my goodness.
That
Long
sounds
story.
terrible.
But
Yeah.
he was okay. The guy was okay.
Yeah, he was okay. They called an ambulance, and but all the ambulance people were going, "Oh my God, look, it's this doctor, it's this doctor, that." And he's like,
Yes.
no, there's a real person here.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he's so popular, Bob, you know, because as I said to him, we met up with his biggest fan called Lorraine, who is actually watches our show a lot. And everyone in the restaurant were going, hi, Sasha, you know, talking to him as his sort of character name. And Lorraine was like blown away. And she actually wrote to me this morning and said, Bob's going to be on, isn't he? And I mean, honestly, he's got such huge following and fans, and quite rightly so, because he's so lovely.
well, listen, darlings, you're back on Friday.
Yes.
Oh yes, it's going to be a kind of Halloweenish show. Ish.
Yes. Yes.
Ish.
Yes. I know
Yes,
you thought
obviously.
this was a witch's hat, but it isn't, darling. But I'm just gearing myself up.
I hear
And I
you.
want to say this. Please let me say this. The worst witch, Sherrie, isn't here.
Oh, you're going to regret that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Sorry,
will
Sherrie.
know that you said that. Yeah.
Well, I'll see you on
Sorry.
Friday, darlings.
Couldn't resist
If
it.
it's a spell on Debbie, and she won't be here at all. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
I'll be in Joe Allen's in the sky.
Yeah. Bye,
So
darling.
thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.